Welcome to The Back Cover, the podcast that explores the classic soul music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm Karen Williams. Join me and my co-host Steve Williams, no, we're not related, as we flip over the album covers and share stories of the movers and shakers that created, wrote, and produced those iconic sounds. We'll educate and entertain you, all while keeping the music alive. Well, Steve and I are back with another back cover. In this episode, we talk about quite a few things, but mainly we talk about soundtracks from movies because the Oscars were just last weekend, and we want to give a shout out to H.E.R, who won for Best Song, Fight For You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Also, we give a little bit of history about some of the blues, some more about some of famous groups. You know, we just have our general conversation, which is always very entertaining and I hope enlightening. So sit back and take a listen to this episode of The Back Cover.
Muddy Waters named Morgan, what was his name? McKinley Morganfield. That's it. McKinley Morganfield. Better known as the Muddy Waters, because he used to, as a child, play in the Muddy Waters. Brought that sound from the Delta, and it became the Chicago Electric Blues, amplified. They amplified a harmonica with Little Walter on the harmonica, and Muddy, he picked up an amplified guitar and played it the way he played acoustics. All of that recorded historic 2021 South Michigan Avenue. The place, Chess Records. Yes, owned and operated by the Chess Brothers, which also own WVON.
The voice
of the Negro. So,
Muddy Waters.
I can remember playing that at some of the juke joints down in Bama, where I got my start as far as playing in little clubs or whatever you wanted to call them. And it was this guy named Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Jenkins was about 80-some years old. He would bring me a $5 bill. Boy, play me some Muddy.
That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I played him some Muddy Waters. And also at Dixie Kitchen, every now and then I would cut out on a Friday night and do a Muddy roll, what I call it. I would do a Muddy and Wolf roll and play some Muddy and Wolf, and those people would have a teetotal ball. The thing is, everybody else, all other ethnic groups, take care of their music.
Right.
They take care of it. They love it. They preserve it. Every January 8th, you can find a ton of people at Elvis's house.
Yep.
Tons. They pay big money for that.
Big money.
Huge.
Huge even.
And that's cool. That's their idol. I don't have a problem with that. But come May 3rd, no, May 5th. Exactly May 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
What? Cinco de Mayo? What are you talking about?
I call it 3 the hard way.
Okay.
Because it's Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis, and James Brown. Their birthdays are all right there together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Our folks.
Right.
And as long as I'm playing music, I want to always honor our people as well.
Yep.
You know, that she's into something. You ought to be into something too. I'm close to you.
That other song was nasty.
What?
I want to be your rock. No, what is it? Rock Me Baby.
Rock Me Baby was one of Muddy's big songs, along with Hoochie Coochie Man.
I remember hearing the Hoochie Coochie.
I'm your
Hoochie Coochie Man.
Yeah. And I don't need to tell you what
the Hoochie Coochie is.
But those people, man, down south would break down doors to hear those songs. And when they came north for the Great Migration, they brought all of that with them. as well as the food.
People aren't going to believe that we didn't plan this, but you really read my mind today.
I did?
Yeah, you did. Because,
Uh-oh.
you know what, and I was going to tell you this. You know what this is the 30th anniversary of?
What?
The soundtrack to the 5 Heartbeats. And so what I did was I made a list of all the movies that have really great soundtracks. And that was one of the movies I had on the list. I was like, Steve ain't going to want to do this. And there you go, pulling it out. We just in synco. Simpatico and synergistically. Oops.
See, don't lie too much now, because I want you losing that.
And synergistically. So yes, today is the 30th anniversary of Robert Townsend's
5
Heartbeats. And you know who your favorite group was.
Of course, the Mighty Dells.
The Dells did they made that song.
They made, A Heart is a House for Love.
A Heart is a House for Love, which is a 90s song, Steve.
Oh damn.
Steve don't believe no songs were good in the 90s. I have to
I
argue
had a
with him.
few.
Yeah, 91. That's when it was done. Today, I'm just going to give you a few of the soundtracks, and you might choose to play some of the music from there.
If I have.
And who was that first? Okay, Willie Hutch was from, what was that movie?
The Mac.
The Mac that you saw how many times?
I saw that movie 6 times in a row on July 4th, 1973. And that was at the Met on Cottage Grove. And my uncle made all of us pay for that because he didn't know where we were. We stayed in that movie all day. But it was some real reaping what you sow when we got home. Because he sent one of my cousins to find us. And amongst all the rats and roaches and everything on the floor and the old popcorn, I learned every line.
Why would you all stay in there to watch it?
Because they didn't come up. Unlike today, they didn't really, back in those days, didn't really come in to get you to tell you to leave.
But why would you even stay?
We were kids. We were young boys. They had slight nudity.
Oh, okay.
And I watched the Blues Brothers 7 times as well, downtown at State and Lake.
But you were a grown man.
No. Well, I was grown-ish. What
was that, 84?
I was out of college. No, I was in college, yeah.
Blues Brothers came out when?
80-something.
I thought it was like later in the 80s.
Early in the 80s.
Okay.
Went out and bought the soundtrack. That's when movies were good, though.
Whatever. Anyway, so the Dells did the soundtrack. Well, they had that one giant hit. That was probably their last.
No.
That wasn't their last hit?
It was a big hit for them that put them back on the road.
Right, put them back on the road.
Yeah, talking with the late Chuck Barksdale, he said, man, that song did a lot for them to bring them back to the forefront. Mm-hmm. But they always worked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they always worked. But some of that movie wasn't done by the Dells. Like, for instance, I Feel Like Going On was not done by the Dells.
Right, but it was the big hit from that song.
That was the signature song for that movie. Yeah.
Right. And your boy was in there.
Who?
The one that played David Ruffin that we interviewed.
Oh, Leon.
Right.
Yeah, he was he was the heartthrob in the group.
Right.
The 5 Heartbeats.
And then the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie, and I've seen that a couple of times. I can't remember it; it's been so long since I. But when I saw my daughter and her little boyfriend at the time when they were in high school, they loved that movie.
That was a heartwarming movie for people that love groups.
He'd bring the DVD over, and they would watch that, and I'm like, okay,
that's good.
Yeah, nice wholesome movie for them to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that was 1991,
right?
So I didn't put any. A couple of them, but these were mostly 80s and 90s movies.
Okay.
There was a couple of 70s and 80s, but there was a couple of 90s that had some good soundtracks. Now for women, the soundtrack that they all loved.
The Bodyguard.
Well, Bodyguard was 19. Yeah, that was a good one. But no, Waiting to Exhale.
Really?
Yes. Oh, my God. Because it was an all-female soundtrack. And it had Patty. It had Aretha. Had Mary J. Blige. Faith Evans. Of course, Whitney. Chaka Khan. SWV. I mean, it was all women. And they loved that soundtrack. It was okay. I didn't get it. Not the soundtrack. The movie was good. Especially when she blew up that car.
That hurt.
I knew somebody who did that. They almost went to jail.
Burn up a good car and all the man's clothes.
And she did that and almost went to jail.
See?
Yeah. But anyway, so the Dells, then it was Waiting to Exhale. Gladys Knight, of course. Now, see, people don't realize Gladys did did a movie. She did Claudine, of course.
First.
But then she did Love Overboard, and she made the song Love Overboard for the movie.
What?
Overboard.
No. Before that, she was in a movie about one of her husbands, Sanka's father. I didn't
say she was in the movie. I said she did the song.
Well, she did a soundtrack for that.
Oh, what movie was that?
It escapes me, but it started. It starred her and this guy. I think her second or third husband.
They were in the movie. Was it a major release?
I don't think too many black folks saw it because it was all about being in Alaska.
Oh,
it was cold.
Oh, you didn't see that because I don't remember that.
Yeah. Somebody gonna tell us in a minute. Just watch. Mm-hmm.
So I had Willie Hutch down there. Curtis Mayfield, of course.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget.
What?
Diana.
Well, I got to give her that. She did some good movies. Mahogany and Lady Sings the Blues.
Yeah.
But she had a great cast with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she had a good cast.
Because Richard Pryor really stole that movie, Lady Sings the Blues. He stole that. Because he was her good, piano player.
Yeah.
And Billy D. You gonna make my arm fall off. Ain't no money in it. Colt 45.
Okay, and in 1973, your boy James Brown did Black Caesar. He did the soundtrack for Black Caesar.
And what was the name of the song that made the charts?
I forgot.
The Big Payback.
Oh, yeah. The Big Payback.
They told James he wanted a soundtrack to that movie. History says that James walked into that studio on a Monday, came out on a Wednesday, didn't write one song down. He made them up as he went along.
I can believe it. Ow! Because all he does is
sold me out, but you can't change. Told me they had it, all the reins.
Hey, all James Brown songs sound alike. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Play them back to back to back, and you be like,
that's how I know. I played them.
How? When is that song?
Well, they all had that drive.
Yeah, they all have the same kind of beat.
Uh-huh.
But see, they forget that he also did the song for Rocky.
Living in America.
Hey! Station to station.
You're terrible.
Well, that's what he sounded like.
That's
And
right.
I know that was 80. That had to be like 82.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was 82.
Yeah, that was the entrance of Apollo Creed.
Or was it the exit?
Entrance.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't the Russian guy? That's why he was saying living. Okay.
Anybody in Russia living in America?
Well, I thought he was like an anthem, like, you know.
Nah.
Okay. I never saw it. I've only seen one Rocky movie.
Okay.
And the reason that I saw that, because when I was in high school, we played
Oh, what band did?
Yeah, right.
I was a trumpet player, so you know I had
so
to.
we played that, and then that was it. I didn't want to see any other one.
That and SWAT.
Yes, and SWAT. Because they kind of sounded alike.
Dun, 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 yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
We only had 2 tubas.
Well, we had 2, but you could hear them.
Yeah, you can hear ours too.
The guys played, man.
Yeah, they were.
Let's see.
Okay, so then of course the most iconic movie that had the best soundtrack, Shaft.
By all means.
1971.
Isaac Hayes took that, man. The song Soulsville that opened up the movie was heartwarming alone. Black man, born free. At least that's the way it's supposed to be. Chains that bind him are hard to reach. Come on, take this walk with me. Place where he lives got plenty of names. Slum, ghetto, black belt. But they're all the same when we call it Soulsville. You don't tell me that ain't poetry, man. Isaac Hayes could write anything. Him and Dave Porter. I love that song, Soulsville. Of course, that's what they nicknamed Stax in Memphis.
Right.
Soulsville.
Okay, so I'll come back with some more. So you choose what you're going to play from that list I gave you.
You'll know it when I play it. Okay, there's another movie you missed out on.
How do you know? I'm not through.
You know what happened yesterday in church? We were having what we call a retro service. And one of them old deacons, we just didn't do praise and worship. I was so happy.
Y'all did devotion.
We did devotion. And I could not stop crying because all I could think about was my great-grandmother at those old churches down south. And Brother Dixon opened up with one of them great old Dr. Watts. I lost my mind.
And which one was it?
The first one. I heard the voice of Jesus. No, he said, no, let me get it right now. I don't know. I just know the Dr. Watts. It was heartwarming. All right. One group. Delphonics.
I knew that. Yeah.
Two songs. One movie. Can you name that movie?
No, I cannot.
Oh, you know the movie. You just don't know you know it.
I told you if it's not a DC or Marvel movie within the last 5 years, I haven't been to the movies in the last 5 years.
Here's the scene.
Okay, give me the scene.
You ready?
Okay.
JD was talking to Choir Boy, and Duck walks in with this brand new honey. But then he see these two guys talking, so he turns around and take her back out to the car. He had a little 65 Ford Mustang.
I don't know that movie. What is it?
Listen to the characters.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be something in the 90s.
Duck, JT, and Choir Boy.
Was it the Heartbeats?
Are you asking me or telling me? Well, let me give him a sound effect. Because I want this. I know this is going to be a big letdown. Sound effects, where are you? You know the movie, Karen. I'm going to say the characters again before anybody else. Come on, I had chicken grease on my finger, so it won't work right. All right, here's the characters.
Duck. It's not Goodfellas.
Mm-mm.
I know it wasn't Goodfellas. Mm-mm. So it has to be the 5 Heartbeats. That's the only thing I can think of.
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Yay, because I was going to do. That's the secret to any movie, knowing the characters and where they fit in. That was the 5 Heartbeats.
When you said a 65 Mustang, I'm thinking, okay.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be a little older movie. Well, not old, but somebody who would, even if it wasn't the movie, the time that the car was in, it had to be a classic movie. You know what I mean?
But it was during that time.
Yeah, so that's why I said, 65 Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now, had I said Goldie,
But see, I never saw that movie.
Or Pretty Tony.
Because I've just heard you talk about the Mac.
The Mac.
I've never seen the movie. The Mac.
Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
Sonny.
Like the song?
No. Sonny.
And? Because that's the Godfather.
Fredo.
Too. That's the Godfather.
You know that.
I know that.
You're right.
See, every woman has to know the Godfather because every man knows the Godfather.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, they do.
Mine don't care a hill of a beans about.
I like the Godfather. I like 1 and 2. Actually, I kind of like 2 better than 1. I mean, not better, but I like 2 also. You ready for some more?
Bring it on, babe.
Okay, so we got up there. Okay, so we talked about Shaft, who's a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Right. Now, Marvin did a movie soundtrack. He did, well, at least he had a song in this movie. I don't know if he did the whole soundtrack.
Is that right?
Yeah, you didn't know that? You play the song. We play the song sometimes, I think.
Is that right?
You know what it was?
What?
You don't know what it is? You mean I know something that you don't know? You don't know what this is, Steve?
I plead the fifth.
You have the song.
I do?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take them sound effects away.
No, don't take my toy.
One day you're going to come away and it's just going to be wiped out. Okay, so I'll tell you what the song is. It's Trouble Man. There was a movie called Trouble Man. Marvin Gaye made the song Trouble Man.
I know.
I get you.
I was just trying to
sure.
See if you remember. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
No.
And then, of course, one of your favorite movies, the song that makes you cry.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true.
The Wiz?
Yeah. Home
is a great. You know what my actually favorite song from the Wiz soundtrack is?
Come on in. He's on down the road. Or slide a little oil to me. Want to know?
Keep going.
Don't you bring me no bad news.
Girl.
So another movie besides The Wiz.
Uh-oh.
We said The Bodyguard, which you go yick too. Yeah. But you know, she wasn't the only one on there. Lisa Stansfield was on there. What's the dude that played the saxophone, the soprano? Kenny G. He was on there. I think somebody else was on there. I can't remember. But anyway. And then, of course, you had Batman.
Batman.
That's right. Who wrote the entire soundtrack for Batman?
Prince.
1989 Batman. The first one that came out. He did that one. Of course, he did Purple Rain.
But he did not write Batman under Prince. He wrote it under, because he was on contract with Warner Brothers as
the symbol. No,
well, he was Prince. He was Prince, but he wrote the soundtrack on his label Paisley Park, and he wrote it as Alexander Nevermind.
Alexander Nevermind. But anyway, he did the soundtrack for Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman.
Dark.
Who I thought was one of the best Batmans. Anyway.
Okay.
And then he did Purple Rain. That was in 1984.
I know.
So he did Purple Rain first, and then he did Batman. Oh, okay.
Under the Cherry Moon.
That's right. Under the Cherry Moon.
I think 4 people saw it.
Right. But, you know, I'm sure they'll have that all playing at the Urn viewing.
I can't take no more.
So, anyway.
We ready?
Okay, so Purple Rain, then he did Batman. Okay, and then one of the other ones, even though the person who wrote it is a little shady now, Space Jam, I Think I Can Fly, is still one of the best songs. H.E.R.'s song. You got to give it to him.
H.E.R. could write.
He could write. He could really write some great songs.
Just couldn't keep his drawers up.
Right.
WTSS, the sound of soul. Remember, if you have an Android phone, you can download our app and take us anywhere. Go to the Google store and type in The Sound of Soul. Download it, and you'll see the little fat heart with black headphones come on, and just download it and take it everywhere. Now,
that was funky.
That was funky. Then an unwashed armpit. Believe me, baby. That's probably why I watched the movie like 5 or 6 times. But anyway, that is the motion picture soundtrack from the Blues Brothers. If you don't know, now you know. But here's the thing. Along with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, but that band is actually the Stax rhythm section from Stax Records. Let me name them for you, please. On lead guitar, it is Steve the Colonel Cropper. On bass, it's Donald Duck Dunn. On drums, the great Al Jackson. Johnny Taylor talks about him in Soul Heaven. And also, Booker T on organ. And last but not least, it's some funky piano in there by a guy that you've probably heard of but never seen. His name, Pine Top Perkins.
Pine Top Perkins.
And he was in his 80s when he played that. Yes, all these guys were put together by John Belushi to do that album. He wanted that authentic sound. Yes, indeed.
Because Belushi was a big soul
He was a blues
guy.
Soul guy, man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he and
Aykroyd still is.
Well, Aykroyd being from Canada and Belushi from Calumet City. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not.
Calumet City, Illinois. Right across the street.
This is the song that they auditioned for Jackie Wilson.
And they would be?
That would be Smokey Robinson and his Miracles.
When his wife was in the group.
Yep. Claudette, you hear her way up there? Yeah. Now, here's the thing. They were not signed to Motown at that time.
How old was he? He sounded like he was 12.
Motown was not even in existence. That song was the only song they were signed to Chicago's own Chess Records. Bad Girl. If you look for that on Motown, you won't find it. It does not exist.
I won't look for it.
You ain't gonna look for it.
Nope.
You lazy like that.
I'm like, it was all right.
That's for all them beige loving sisters that love them beige loving green-eyed devils. He's so pretty. He got baby hair. I heard that my whole life almost. My whole teenage life.
These are the same people who like Prince, too.
Yeah.
I'm like, not so much.
And before that, another group out of Detroit that you never knew they were out of Detroit because they didn't have that Detroit sound.
And they didn't record in Detroit.
True.
They were in Philly.
Enchantments. EJ. Whatever.
Okay.
EJ actually went to school, attended school, I should say. I want to make it proper. EJ attended school with Stevie Wonder. And if you saw EJ on stage doing an Enchantment concert, I would hope you didn't have an accident. Because he was scared to yell out of you, man, all over the stage, and you think he's going to fall off. Because he would be that close to the stage. Mm-hmm. But he never.
He never did.
He never did. And as a matter of fact, he's a couple 100 pounds heavier, but they still perform.
Okay.
Yeah, good. A group that didn't sign to Motown. Because Motown, it was kind of hard for groups. Because they set the standard, some of the standards, I would say, for those groups back in the day. They all sounded, if they had 5-part harmony, let's take like with the Dramatics. They wouldn't have had a shot at Motown, although they're from Detroit. So when Stax, the second coming of Stax, a lot of groups that didn't make Motown or could make Motown,
right.
Al Bell contacted them to come to Stax. A lot of groups in Chicago, be it Emotions, they were first signed to Stax.
And the First Family
Staple Singers.
That's right.
They were actually first signed to VJ Records as a gospel group. and they recorded many gospel albums on VJ.
Right. And
But then when the secular part of, or should I say, wasn't really secular. It was a contemporary gospel field started opening up. Al Bell reached out for them because he liked the way they could go back and forth. You see.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Backgrounds.
Ray Goodman and Brown.
Oh.
Even though they were a group, they background each other.
Well, it was four of them.
Was it? No, it was, well, initially.
Initially, the Moments were four members.
Right. And
but then one of them just called it.
And then they became Ray Goodman and Brown.
They became Ray Goodman and Brown because the record company, they took their name. Well, not only did they take it, they owned the rights to their name. Right. So they couldn't record under the Moments. So here comes Ray Goodman and Brown.
Thanks for listening to The Back Cover. You can catch The Back Cover on TuneIn, Stitcher, and MyTuner. You can also listen to our show, The Ride Home, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Central Standard Time on www.thesoundofsoul.net. Please have your friends and family like and subscribe to our podcast.